RAF Syerston was built in the late 1930s as part of the bomber expansion, but did not open until the 1st of December 1940. The first aircraft flown from there were Vickers Wellingtons, and they were crewed by Polish flyers. However, in July 1941 they were replaced by Handley Page Hampdens. From December 1941 until the 5th of May 1942, the base was closed. This was due to concrete runways and two T2 hangars being built. And when the base reopened, it became part of No. 5 Group. From 1942 to 43, several squadrons of Avro Lancaster aircraft arrived. However, in late 1943, in November 1943, the operational squadrons left and the station was used for bomber crew training, led by Captain Robert White. It became known as the Lancashire Finishing School in January 1944. From November 1943 to July 1944, there was also a bombing and gunnery defence training flight that used several Wellingtons, Spitfires and Hurricanes, plus a few Martinet tug aircraft. All these were all used to brush up the skills of air gunners on air-to-air exercises. They left on the 1st of April 1945 with No. 49 Squadron coming from RAF Forbeck, but they only had one operation before leaving to go to RAF Maple. After the war, the base became part of the Transport Command, with a heavy conversion unit arriving from RAF Leicester East. This was in October 1945, and they stayed until January 1948 when they moved to RAF Dishforth. Syerston was taken over by Flying Training Command on the 1st of February 1948, when No. 22 Flying School arrived from RAF Euston, which trained pilots for the Fleet Air Arm. The training school became No. 2 Flying Training School in 1955. On the 20th of September 1958, the prototype Avro Vulcan VX770 crashed during a Battle of Britain at home display. A Rolls-Royce test pilot had been authorised to fly it on an engine performance sortie with a flypast. The briefing was for the pilot to fly over the airfield twice at around 60 to 90 metres in height, and flying at a speed of 250 to 300 knots, which is around 290 to 350 miles an hour. The Vulcan flew along the main runway, then started to roll to starboard and climbed slightly. Shortly after this, a kink appeared in the starboard main plane leading edge, followed by the leading edge of the wing, and the wingtip then broke off, followed by a collapse of the main spar and wing structure. The Vulcan then went into a dive and began rolling, with the starboard wing on fire, and struck the ground. 3 occupants of a controller's caravan were killed by debris, a 4th being injured, and all of the crew of the Vulcan were killed. The cause of the crash was pilot error. The captain flew the aircraft over the airfield at 410 to 420 knots, so much faster than he should have been going, and it also descended to a height of 65 to 70 feet. Rolling the Vulcan to starboard while flying at this speed, the aircraft was rolled at a rate of 15 to 20 degrees per second while pulling up into a 3,000 feet a minute climb, imposing a strain of between 2 and 3 G, where it should have remained below 1.25 G. VX770 was a prototype and was not as strong as later production models. In fact, buckling of the leading edge in this plane was a known problem, and this was the primary reason for low flight performance limits being imposed. In January 1975, the Royal Air Force Central Gliding School and 644 Volunteer Gliding Squadron moved to Syerston and have been there ever since, with 643 Volunteer Gliding Squadron also being based at Syerston since the 10th of October 1992. This, however, was only meant to be a short-term stay, and most of the buildings at Syerston were demolished in 1997. From 1990, Nottingham University Gliding Club, when affiliated with the Four Counties Gliding Club, used the airfield until 2004, when both moved to RAF Syerston Heath. In 2005, the Nottingham University Gliding Club affiliated itself to Cranwell Gliding Club at RAF Cranwell, and the Four Counties Gliding Club moved to RAF Wittering. And to this day, the base is still used for gliders and gliding training. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a future video.